If you feel any pain emotionally or physically, you need to immediately take a pill. You need to immediately go to therapy. You need to immediately stop feeling bad. In some situations and in certain circumstances, healing requires you to go through a process with that. And they can't make it through those processes. They end up suicidal. They end up druggies. They end up supporting and fighting for causes that are just complete illusions.
Well,
I think the long and the short of it is, though, you get back to the reparations, there definitely does need to be a study. I personally don't think there's a reason to bypass Congress. If it is such an emergent issue, Congress can convene. They convene emergency sessions at 3 a.m, 2 p.m. They've done it for a host of other things.
Isn't there a law that Congress has to have a session about whatever's on the docket? I can't remember the exact law.
Well, what the threat
is,
what the threat is by the Biden administration, yet again, is that they're going to put in an executive order to make it happen immediately. Now, here's something that they didn't think about. Let's say Biden signs that executive order tomorrow. They're reparating $100 check to everybody. Well, 5 years down the road, they finally complete the study. Everybody should have gotten $10,000. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. So it's like to slow it down in and of itself is ridiculous. So it's, I don't know. It's another reason that President Biden scares the hell out of me.
Well, in my mind, I will not argue with you about the study at all. Not in my mind. I will not argue with you about the study at all, because there really does need to be one. And honestly, if you're a person of color, not just black, and you live in America, and you've been here for at least 4 generations, guess what? You probably deserve a check. You've been through something, or the past generation.
Well, no, we're not going to go. I have to disagree with you. We're not going to go with you've been through something. You are a descendant of a slave, or you are not. We've all been through something in our lives. To have been through something, no. Reparations are about slaves, and the only thing that we can apply them to now, since all the slaves are dead, are their descendants. You want to make a different bill to offer help for different problems and issues that may be related to race. Well, then you'll have to write up a new bill. But now, if we're talking about reparations, this is only going to be for the descendants of slaves. If you have been the victim of racism in any way, you can go and sue. You can also file charges against your constitutional rights, which means you get federally arrested by the FBI, and I've been busted by the FBI. It ain't cool.
Oh, no, see, this is my thing, though. Like, what you're describing sounds great to talk about, but it's not something that can be done for everyone. Like, you can call the FBI and say it's racist, and depending on your situation, it may turn out exactly as you described. But depending on that person's situation, it may turn out completely the opposite way. And it may, in fact, ruin a good portion of your life. Or people may, in fact, ruin a good portion of your life. Now, when I say you deserve reparations, let's not lie and say that the United States doesn't always have a slave class. Like, there's always going to be a slave class in the United States until we all grow up and realize it really doesn't fucking matter. And there's more things that people need to be accountable for than the immediate color of their skin. But if you can think that Indians deserve reparations, then why doesn't any Asian American deserve reparations for what they did? They built the railroads basically for free and worked as slaves until they got to what the hell is it? So they got to California. And if they deserve reparations, their reparations could be as simple as they never have to ride the train and pay. I think that's fair.
I wouldn't even agree that Asians from that period deserve reparations, but like I said, it's like this never-ending spiral.
Yeah,
with what they're talking,
you can't fix the situation. As I've said it to people 1,000 times, and everybody thinks I'm playing. If you want to destroy somebody, if you want to make great change, you can't hit them where they feel it. You can't hit them in their feelings and make them stop. You have to hit them where it really hurts, in their fucking wallet.
Right, but now here's the other thing. Every single civilization, every single race of human being, every single entity of communal and community have all at some point in their history taken slaves. It started out, Egyptians were crossing
slavery.
Right, Europeans got the idea of slavery from the Egyptians. They were crossing over from Africa and taking us first.
Okay.
So cool. When do I get my reparation check?
Well, that's something that you would probably have to take up with Egypt.
Oh, that's fine. Cool, the UN. Cool, the UN. I mean, no. What I'm saying, and I'm being sarcastic. Do you really believe I deserve a reparation check? No.
Do I believe that you deserve a reparations check? I'm not the one to discuss that. Like, isn't that why it's supposed to go through Congress?
Well, here's what it is.
Make the decision.
The past is the past. In my own personal thought, the whole thing is ridiculous. We offer a program and a subsidy to help every aspect of debilitating issues in our lives. The ability, if you are poverty-stricken, to get education, if you get good enough grades and can get accepted into great colleges, in our society now, you can actually get the funding, but you got to show that immaculate 4.0 average. In this day and time, because there are so many subsidies, so many programs, so many things that are offered to help people get up off their ass when they fall down, we've already paid reparations. We've paid tons of reparations already.
I don't know about that.
Oh, we have.
Well, can you say that to the Tuskegee Airmen? Did they get reparations?
If they are descendants of slaves, then yeah, but no, you don't get reparations just for being. Oh, wait. No, dude. See, I'm not going to play that. Just because they were Tuskegee Airmen does not mean they get reparations. If they are the descendants of actual slaves. Okay. Well, again, reparations and soldiers are two different things.
Well, no, it's not because they're soldiers that I believe they deserve reparations. It's because what was done to them, they deserve reparations.
What was done to them?
They were genetically tested on.
Really? Because what I saw and read about the Tuskegee Airmen had nothing to do with that.
Oh, yeah, a good deal of them were genetically tested on. They tested vaccines and stuff like that on them. Quite a few of them died. And I think it spawned a actual disease as well.
Well, and then again, all right, I'm going to just, for the sake of argument, I don't really believe it, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to consider that you're right. Then yes, they would deserve compensation, but not from reparations. They should be allowed to sue the government for violating their rights as far as the experimentation, the knowledge of what was happening to them, and cruel and unusual punishment. That's a completely different situation and issue. If they were still alive today, they could sue the piss out of everybody over that. So that's not something that would be put...
The whole reason that they were treated that way wasn't because they were in the Air Force, and it wasn't because they were, what the hell is it? And it wasn't because they were just the first names to pick out of a hat. They weren't the first names to pick out of a hat. They were treated that way because they were black. because their history was a past life of slavery.
Well, I disagree because in that time, you had the Philadelphia experiment that cost 200 white people their lives in an experiment they didn't understand was actually happening to the ship that they were on. You fast forward into the 50s, there's over 200 children that were kidnapped and experimented on by the government themselves that weren't just black, they were also white. If you come up into the 70s, you have what is called the Montauk Conspiracy, which Bill Clinton apologized for, where they were kidnapping kids of all races. So to try and go and blame it all on race, we weren't there. That was some 70, 80 years ago. Again, we're trying to place a dollar value on the mistakes of history. That means we have to pay for every single mistake from the beginning of time. God can't even do that.
Now, I know a couple of believers that wouldn't ever say that, but
no. Well, even if you're a believer, if you're a believer in the Christian Bible, in the end, He destroys the earth completely and casts everybody He don't want to keep into the abyss, forever gone. Even God cannot.
This is true.
Cannot supplant that will or whim. But I want to look into the Tuskegee thing because I love conspiracies. I love government conspiracies.
Oh my God!
And that lines up with a few other ones that I like.
So many conspiracies, you will actually love it. Actually, you should look up a documentary called Hidden Colors. You would actually love it because honestly, the only reason why I really think that they want to give out reparations is because they just want to make a group of people that, although is a minority to the population, it is a majority when it comes to, what the hell is it, making and sustaining at least a little bit of change every time.
Well,
and they want to just take those people and give them something other to do for a little while so they can move on with something really diabolical. But,
well, right, because what they're trying, what they're doing,
theory.
The reason they're opening up the borders, the reason they're going and offering reparations is we're coming up on 2022. A ton of House of Representative seats open up. And it looks like the conservatives are going to retake the majority in the House of Representatives, which they're scared of. They're very scared of that happening because
that's a horrifying thought.
Well, no, because you need the Republicans to do that because right now you have the Democrats in control of both houses. And, I mean, look at all the lies about stimulus checks and student loan forgiveness and gun rights and all the cancel culture way is just horribly unconstitutional. The conservatives need to take back that house. But what they're doing is they don't have the vote anymore. All the Democrats have, in just let's see, it's been 5 weeks since Biden's been president. And in that time, he's even scared the hell out of most Democrats. And so they're looking to get voters. So the only way they can get their voters is to buy them. Promises of letting their family come over here from Mexico, promises of reparation checks, promises of forgiving student debt loan, promises of stimulus checks. There's no way they can satisfy all these promises, and there's no way America can afford to buy all those votes for them.
Oh, I don't disagree, but if they can satisfy at least, you'd be surprised. Like I said, this country, as I said before on your previous show, this country is stuck in a state of Stockholm syndrome, especially the people in this country who have had it the worst for a very long time. If you fulfill a quarter, and not even a quarter, if you fulfill an eighth of their needs and make their lives a little bit better and sustainable for at least a year, you actually might have the ability to win.
Well, there's a gentleman named Coleman Hughes. He's a black author. I forget his main background, but he says what you're saying. He says, black culture in America does need financial help. It needs social help. We need better neighborhoods. We need better health care. We need better domestic education. I like